Calling the meeting to order at 6:05, with myself, Henry, and Hazel remote. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United
States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Conflict of interest.
None?
None here. Meeting minutes, let's consider approving the select board meeting minutes of February 4th. This is going to be hard because I cannot vote. So I think that we're going to have to put that off until the next time without a quorum to vote. Is that pretty accurate? Without Lloyd here? So we'll table that to next week. We can consider the warrants. Either of you want to make a motion?
I'll move to approve accounts payable number 37 in the amount of $263,386.81.
I'll second.
Any questions, any discussion?
So that also includes State of Maine DMV. There were 3 prepaid for February 5th, totaling $1,473.50. So that was just making sure that we got those sent into the DMV on time. And then the $1,500 for the concrete pad to CH Stevenson. So that was in a previous, that was paid on February 5th. And then there was a monthly allocation to RSU 38. That was the largest number that you see on there. And then the town of Reedfield transfer station for the 11,000 amount.
Got it. Take a vote and we'll do it by voice. Hazel?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Marianne? Payroll?
Move to approve payroll number 36 in the amount of $12,114.39.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Nothing unusual?
No.
Okay. Vote to approve? Hazel?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. We're going to, am I right? Yes. Going to old business. Is this different? Is this different than what I just looked at?
The discussion on payroll?
No, the agenda. The agenda looked much longer when I looked at it a few minutes ago.
We're pretty efficient.
It has the new business, but it had all the additional pieces under the new business.
Yes.
So under the discussion of the town manager contract, it included an attachment.
Okay, got it.
So on the
Got it. It's all there. Yes, I was seeing the whole layout of it and I didn't really look at that. Okay. Discussion and reconsideration of hiring a payroll company.
So at the February 4th select board meeting, I presented 5 different payroll companies. And so that included the biweekly and monthly rates, the turnaround time for setup. And then the select board did vote to proceed with hiring a Bangor payroll. Now in that short time, we've had some snow days. We've had 2 visits from our new treasurer. And in those 2 days, we've also had a visit from another neighboring finance director who has helped us walk through the process of payroll. And so we've already completed 1 payroll. By the time that we would need to set up with Bangor payroll processing, we would at least need to complete another payroll process. And so I think at that point, the team in the office there would feel most comfortable proceeding with it. And I think that it would be most time and cost effective for the town. especially considering we only have a couple of people on the payroll. Right now, we have a considerable amount just for the Lad Rec Center, but in the possibility or future, if those happen to go away, we'd only have 4 people on payroll for processing. And that's really not a significant amount, maybe worth investing in, but my recommendation or request would be that we would continue processing in-house, just muscle memory, that we would be able to continue doing that.
So part of the justification I'm hearing, Shannon, is the number of employees that the Lad Rec Center has, but until we have a determination on what's going to happen with the rec center, I think it's, I think you still have to consider how many people we could potentially have to pay.
I think that Shan is saying that they can handle the current payroll and is pointing out that the number may decrease based on what happens with the Lad Rec Center. I have maintained all along that payroll is not difficult. Now you have the town manager saying that they've gone through it with the finance director from another town with the new treasurer, and they feel they can do it in-house. I have said and still say that I would rather see that money put on payroll for our employees and keep that activity in-house. That's just my opinion.
So how comfortable, Shannon, are you and the folks in the office on all of the reporting requirements that go with payroll? I mean, it's not just calculating the checks and dealing with that. There's the reporting side of that.
So we did create a login, and we did go through with the state department, and then also with federal. We called them and did a step-by-step walkthrough on the process of it. And I think that our new treasurer at first felt a little intimidated, but now at this point feels comfortable just having that step-by-step and realizing that it's not as much pressure as it needs, as we had put on it. I think that it's something that we can manage.
And what is the cost of that program?
So the payroll company, the total estimated annual cost was $1,651.72. That was broken down into the per pay period cost would be $58.72. So every 2 weeks, that'd be about $58 just to do that processing. And then there were some additional fees, but more so for like stop payments, a $34 charge, or agency checks are $4 each. And then there was additional charges for each W-2 that we process. And so the startup fees, I'm trying to think of how much that was, whether it was the $350 startup fee, I believe it was. So just to get started, that plus the cost.
Is it very time consuming? I'm sure that I'm rehashing things that you've already spoken about. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Regarding the time, we would still have to put in the data into the Trio software. They would sit there and give them their hours and everything. So we still have to put it in on our end, and they would still do it through the payroll processing company.
So as far as the inputting goes, work has to be done anyway to get the payroll information into our accounting system. Is that correct, Shannon?
Yes.
Well, I've done payroll before with a service, and basically the reason I did it was for all of the state and federal reporting that needed to be done, as well as pulling things out. But you have a program that's doing that for you anyway.
We are filing it on through the Trio system.
Through the Trio system.
Yeah, and then we take that data that it goes, once we do the verify and accept the calculations, we take those calculations and then we go on to the state website, and we go onto the federal website, and then we just report it there. And then we do quarterlies. So coming up in April, we'll have another quarterly due.
So, Mary-Ann, one of the discussions you missed at the meeting last time was because we're in transition at the moment. We said that having a payroll company, at least on an interim basis, would have some value because I think we could cancel this particular company with no fees. Is that right, Shannon?
Yes, that's correct. There's no contract and no cancellation fees.
About 300 plus minus up front.
Correct.
To just get it started.
But it takes 3 weeks to set it up.
Yeah.
I've got to say that if you feel comfortable with it, and if it's not incredibly time consuming, it doesn't seem like it's very expensive, but at the same time, it's gonna take your time to set it up. And if it's something that could be postponed, if it becomes evident that you need it, my sense is that we could go without. What
Could
do you think,
we,
Hazel?
could we consider deferring this conversation until we have the rest of the board present?
Absolutely.
As long as Shannon understands that we're saying it's okay for her to not proceed, because the
Right.
current, the motion was to for Shannon to go ahead and set this up with the Bangor payroll service. I'm looking to find our minutes to see exactly what the motion was. And so as long as we all agree that motion to approve the hiring of Bangor payroll for payroll processing
Right,
was the motion.
Old business. Okay.
right, got it.
And so
There's
I'm happy to wait until other people come, if we agree that Shannon doesn't need to proceed until then.
Was there a time frame on this motion?
No,
Oh, well.
Yeah.
That's easy.
So our next meeting is March 4th.
Mhm.
We'll have processed some of their payroll, I think, by then. If you'd like, I can put it down for that meeting, or we can do it for a later meeting. Do you want to do the March 4th meeting?
well, on March 4th, we've got to do, just pointing out, on March 4th, I believe we must finish up with these general code ordinances that we've deferred and deferred and deferred, because if they're not done on March, I'm probably not going to be able to give Chip what he needs to get the input back on time.
I think that's a priority for March 4th. I also know that Hazel said that she wanted to keep this to an hour because of her time constraints. So we may have a few things that we may choose to table, especially given that there's 3 of us. But could we just get an update as to how it went?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it seems to me that all we would need to do, if you said this is unmanageable, that we just go forward and say, we'll pull the trigger. And it wouldn't take more time than.
Well, yeah, if we don't do anything, she needs to go ahead and hire the payroll service. If we decide we don't want the payroll service, then we should have a motion to vacate that prior motion. And that's all that has to happen. And when that happens, then there will be no instruction to hire a payroll service, and business will continue as it was before.
But if there's no date on this,
Yeah,
we
no,
can,
she's okay.
right,
Yeah.
then we can just
Yeah.
push it till another time.
Okay.
Okay,
I mean, if it
Yeah.
makes you feel comfortable,
Yeah.
we could probably have a motion that allows Shannon to not set it up in the next 2 weeks until we can put it on the agenda for the next meeting.
I don't think that's necessary.
I think since there's not a date on it, we can just let it sit for a
And,
while.
and,
I-
and it, yeah, and as long
That's
as we
my-
haven't made a
yeah.
commitment. If Shannon goes ahead and makes, I've kind of Googled Robert's rules. If Shannon goes ahead and makes a commitment to Bangor payroll, then there's nothing to be done with this motion. If nothing's happened on it, which has nothing happened, then we can vacate the motion at any time, and it will be a nullity. So I don't think we need to do anything tonight.
Right. No action taken.
No action taken.
Okay.
Yes, Mike.
I just have 2 questions. One, do you have a feel for how many other towns in Maine of similar size to Wayne and similar number of employees keep it in-house versus go to a payroll service? And secondly, how long will this company keep their price set?
That's a good question as far as the price. I'll have to reach out to them and get that for that quote. Regarding other towns, I reached out on the listserv to other municipalities and I heard back from, I believe it was 7, 5 of which had used Bangor payroll. Some other ones had just recently switched from using paychecks back to in-house due to the costs of for the time and the cost of it. But I've only heard of from 7 or 8 just from the municipalities, and that's who decides to participate in it. I don't have an overall estimate for all municipalities across the state.
we have room for this in the budget this year?
I think we have room for it, yes.
I have no more discussion. I think we can move on if everybody's comfortable.
Mhm.
Into new business. Discussion of the town manager contract.
So I have a question. When I looked at the agenda yesterday, there were a number of these things that were not on the agenda. So, as I recall, the budget workshop, item C, was on the agenda, but the other three items were not on the agenda. And if they've just been recently added, I haven't been able to prepare any comments on any of those other three items.
Those were added, once I received the proposed draft from Henry.
I'm sorry, they got added to the agenda when?
Once we had received them from Henry, I believe they were on there when it was published.
You had indicated, Hazel, that you wanted to defer it. I certainly don't care. We can put it off.
I did that by email yesterday, I
Yeah.
think. What day is today?
Yeah.
Tuesday. Yeah, I did that by email yesterday, but I was pretty sure those were not on the agenda when it was published.
It was published on Friday.
I must have looked at it before as well. Sorry,
So-
that I didn't know.
I'd
But
like to defer the town manager contract. I haven't had, I've glanced at it, but I think it takes a little more thought.
Well,
It's a pretty significant rewrite.
And we do have a quorum, but it would be good to have, all five
I'm
of
fine
us
to put it off.
discussing this. Okay.
Yeah.
Treasurer ordinance and job description.
Okay.
Same
Same
thing?
comment.
Discussion of budget workshop schedule.
So I prepared a tentative or pending budget workshop schedule. This morning I met with a Jim Perkins, the current chair for the budget committee, and he just suggested shifting up. I put in an optional budget committee meeting for March 11th. So everything that was on the 25th would move up to the 11th. Everything on April 8th would move up to the 25th, just to allow more time at the end of April, the beginning of May. And then looking at May 14th for RSU 38, the school board would have their annual school meeting regarding the budget. Looking at May 20th for the approve and sign annual town meeting warrant. Followed by the following week for a public hearing on final annual town meeting articles and budget. And then June 10th for the annual town meeting. And the vote.
And you met with Jim regarding some of these optionals?
Yes, so we would move the 25th up to the 11th. And this was just a proposed budget schedule. Pending any revisions or considerations from the select board.
I would say that Jim would be the final arbiter if he feels like this is a good one.
And I plan on giving a town manager presentation at that first meeting, March 11th.
Did the budget committee put this schedule together, Shannon?
I put this together.
Oh, okay.
So it's pending approval by the budget committee and the select board. But this was just a tentative proposal.
Okay. Would we make that decision at this meeting? Or are you gonna go further with it? And is this just an introduction to us?
It was just last meeting, it was just requested to discuss a workshop schedule.
I
And
see.
so this is something I just put together for the select board to consider.
Thank you very much. How does Jim feel about this? Just everything looking to him?
Yes, he just has one conflict of time, I think is in the end of April, so that's why he would also more agreeable with shifting it up to the March 11th date.
Okay, and I see that, potentially moving tell me about May 13th again.
So the May 13th is just an additional space on the calendar. As of right now, I had included all of the select board meetings, the first and third Tuesdays of each month, and then the every other Tuesday for the budget committee.
Got it, okay. Well, that looks good to me. Can we move on then? I know that I have not, been able to look at all the health insurance options. I don't feel prepared for this. I apologize.
I had one more question
Oh, yes.
for the discussion of the budget workshops. Is that for outside agencies? Do you want to have them, do you want a list of them to approve? Or do you want the town manager and town office just to approve them as based off of the budget last year, or take them? Or
What are we,
have them?
what do you mean, like, what we give to the,
Right, so
to,
there's different charitable organizations that usually put in funding requests for the upcoming fiscal year. And so, is that something that you would like to have a list of and go down, or would you like them to come in and give presentations, or is that something that you've done in the past?
I don't have a history with that really, except for last year. I don't recall anybody coming in, but I think that we did look at the list of them. I don't think that we've ever gotten, I can't say that. I don't know about having presentations from them before.
Okay,
a suggestion might be, let them submit their request and you can make your recommendations.
okay,
And if, based on that, we have questions and think we need a presentation, we'll ask for it. Does that
so,
seem fair?
yes, and
Yeah.
so I can compile a list of the requests that we've
Yeah.
received.
With your
So far.
recommendations would be.
Yeah.
Okay,
With your
That'd be great.
recommendations, and if we have questions, or if you have disagreements with what somebody asked for, then, you know, we may need to invite them to come visit with us.
okay. So far, what I've been seeing is a lot of them are requesting basically the same amount as last
Yeah.
year, but I will bring that
Kind
to
of
you.
rolled over from year to year.
Yep, okay.
Thanks.
Yep. And Henry had just asked about the health insurance options. And so that is something I just added today, Hazel. It was just the current plans that we have. And so I believe after reaching out to the Maine Municipal Association is who we go through, and it's provided through by Anthem. We follow under the Acadia and the Baxter plans. And I believe right now it's 100% for the dental, vision, health insurance coverage for all employees.
Explain that again. We have two, Baxter and Acadia?
Yes, so towns can offer up to 3 different plans. They currently have Acadia, Baxter, Katahdin, Moosehead, and Pemaquid plans. And then I think Acadia and Baxter are the most commonly used by municipalities, and Baxter is usually the base plan that towns usually fall under. And so towns can either allocate a certain amount that the employees cover, while the town covers another percentage. But the town of Wayne covers 100% right now for health insurance coverage for Acadia and Baxter. And then the employees can choose within those plans what best fits for them and their family.
And is it the Baxter's the best or Acadia? I forget which.
Well, Baxter is the most commonly
Common-
used. It just
okay,
depends on
okay,
what.
well, anyway, it's like one's a platinum and one's the gold. And if the town's paying 100%, I don't know why each employee wouldn't opt for the best of the two. And there's a very small price differential between these plans.
Yeah. Some towns usually tend to use Baxter as their base plan and then offer a percentage of that. And then they can kind of go off from there, and then they'll calculate the base plan percentage and factor that into those other plans and let the employee choose.
So I haven't had time to a chance to look at these yet. You said there are 5 plans. Henry's talking about a platinum and a gold kind of plan.
Yeah, and
So Henry, I don't know, you probably had a chance to look at these. Are these like the most expensive options for the town?
yes, the two plans that we have a choice of are in this Baxter, Acadia, Katahdin, those are just the name that they put on the plan.
Right. I got that, but yeah, they don't.
And we have, the two that we have are the two most expensive ones, but there's very little price difference between the various plans.
Yeah, sure.
For example, the Acadia plan is $1,354.80 a month. The Baxter plan, which is the next one down, is $1,290 a month, basically. So it's $64 a month difference. 64 on 1,300 is not a great deal of difference in the prices. I don't know. These prices seem very high to me. It's a pooled, non-rated group that we get with Maine Municipal. My guess is if our workforce was higher up in years, it would probably be a good deal. If our workforce is lower down in years, it's probably expensive. I don't know if we'd want to try to get quotes from anybody else on anything. I'm not advocating that. It's just I had hoped to see a greater possibility of savings, but looking at the Maine Municipal Trust plans, they're really not much different in cost.
And is that true of all 5 plans or just the 2 that in the?
Those are the 2 that we're looking at. Now, when you get down to the difference between the most expensive plan and the least expensive plan is about it's around $150, a little less than $150 a month. And that least expensive plan is a PPO. We'd have to go through and look at all the differences and what the maximum out of pocket is. But even from best to least, there's not a great deal of there's not a big possibility for savings there.
So for next meeting, could we have more of a explanation on what we're looking at and a bit more of a presentation?
Sure.
So the rest of the board can hear. I mean, we can go.
So
Can we get somebody from the insurance? Can we get somebody from MMA to come and talk to us about it? Hazel, what would you think about that?
Yeah, that would be fine.
See if we can get them to come visit with us.
So if this is effective January 1st, are we re-choosing?
No, well, I don't know what the open enrollment portion is. I don't think we are, but one thing to talk about when the budget comes up is I believe we budget on whatever premium is effective at the time we're talking about it. And then it's going to go up in January. Every year it goes up. I think when we consult our budget, we should be looking at that and putting in a contingency for an increase during the second half of our fiscal year.
Yes, absolutely.
But maybe we can get someone from MMA to come talk to us about these plans.
Is there anything?
Or
particular
if they can't come, maybe they have I don't know, a explanation or a packet or something that explains the options.
Yeah, okay.
Well, there must be. I mean, there must be some kind of a book of.
Well, there is. With the materials
explanation of
that
benefits, right.
Shannon sent us, one of them, it was about 30 pages of stuff.
Okay. So the tabs, I did not look into them. Sorry. A lot of information. All right, well, so again, should we consider this somewhat tabled or just extend it into next time?
Yeah, there's no action taken.
Yeah.
Just discussion.
I think it's something we need to get some consensus on prior to the budget discussions.
Yes, of course. And I wasn't thinking of this as being relevant to, or I wasn't thinking about the budget process, so yes, please. All right. Thanks. Move on to the town manager report.
Okay. All right. So at next meeting, we'll go over the minutes from the February 4th meeting, and we'll bring back either a packet or a representative from the MMA to talk about insurance plans.
Please.
And I will bring forth the recommendations for any funding requests for fiscal year 25-26. The planning board will be voting on the moratorium this Thursday at 6:30 PM here at the Lad Rec Center to pass on then potentially to the select board. So this will be the vote to pass on the moratorium to the select board. It's been posted to the town website and supporting documents as well as and the Zoom link. So if you have any questions or you'd like to look at the materials or you'd like to zoom in, that should all be included under the town website. I've been working on the website search bar with our host to no avail. We are meeting again tomorrow to try to get that in there. And so we're working on a search bar for our town website page. The next select board meeting will also be taking a look at the parks and roads ordinances. And so as far as that's all I've got for the town manager's report.
One of the things when you're talking to the select board people, we might want to put a link on the Wayne main events. We had one before. Oh,
I did ask them about that
Okay.
this week. They said that's not within their capability.
Gee, on the other one, we had a link that you just clicked on.
Yep, so under this current host, they aren't able to do that right yet, but I did put that in as a recommendation and a suggestion and a request for future if they can work on that. So
Okay,
they are trying to, because I
seems like these, okay.
can make a page. So if you look at our town website and you click under the more, you can click on something and I can take it into a page and then include the link.
Okay.
And then someone can click on it. But right now I'm trying to figure out how you can add it
Yeah.
to just click on and take you to the website.
Because that's just an alternative to what, I remember I asked you that why shouldn't we have a calendar? And that's an alternative to having a separate calendar for the town on there. Just put all the town stuff on the Wayne main events.
Yes.
Your
so-
workaround would be handy in the meantime.
Okay, so I can add it under a
Yeah.
separate page and then just have a link in a page.
Mhm.
So I can do that in the meantime.
Great, thank you.
Okay, no problem. I also updated the town assessor's information. I did have a request for that and regarding when he's available at the office. And so that's just listed that he's under monthly by appointment. He comes into the office once a month, but I updated that on the page as well.
Thanks. I do like that new page.
Yeah.
Or the website, much better. And that's it? You good?
Mhm.
Board member reports?
Nothing here.
Hazel, can I let you do the hiring committee while I talk about the solid waste? I heard very little. Is that okay?
Yep.
So I met with the solid waste and recycling committee. There really wasn't that much. They are on board. The only news of report is that we're looking at a 3.5% budget increase for next year, which will obviously flow down to the towns. And so that 3.5% will come to us. That's mine.
So you want the hiring update?
Sure, and then if I have anything else to say, I will add it.
So the job posting has closed. The candidates' materials are being at this
no.
point in time, and as the thing to talk, and we'll be taking the next steps with as we go through the evaluation process. MMA has suspended the posting on their site and on their Indeed site. Shannon, I need you to take it down off the just say posting closed or whatever, and so we can
That's right.
move forward with our resource pool that we have, our candidate pool.
Town website as well.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes. You cut out there, but you were probably just saying that you and I were reviewing the applicants.
I did.
Okay. We got upwards about 26 applicants. Some of them through Indeed, some of them through LinkedIn, and then some of them from our website. So it was a very successful posting. We'll let you know as time goes on how we're evaluating them. Is that good?
That's good.
Any public comments? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, just-
Betsy.
Just a little clarification. if
Sin-
you can.
Since we're on Zoom, tell us who you are, so Hazel knows.
What was the
And-
question?
I asked Betsy to say who she was, so you knew who was talking. since
Thank you.
weren't here.
So just a little clarification on the campground ordinance process right now on Thursday at the planning board meeting. The planning board has already voted and approved on the campground amendments, you know, the proposal. And all they need to do now on Thursday is just, look at the letter. It's kind of a resolution report from the town lawyer to help back it up. And that's what the planning board will look at on Thursday and vote to accept that. And then they'll be ready to move it forward to the select board, which means it will be another item on the March 4th full agenda for the select board then to decide, you know, look at the moving forward, the vote and the timeline that we need to follow.
So we'll bring coffee and maybe some snacks for our
Yeah.
next meeting.
I just, yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. So that they will be sending that on to you. I'm assuming they will send it on to you, not the committee. I'm not really sure. I'll find out for sure on Thursday.
No, I would think that they should as well, but I don't know.
That's what I'm thinking.
Anything else? Yes, Ken?
I didn't have a chance to read the draft contract, but I did take a quick look at it, and I didn't see anything there about the responsibilities or the duties of the town manager to follow the job description of the town manager. And it seems as though if that's a basis for hiring and evaluation, it should probably have a mention somewhere in the contract. It does have mentions, you know, adhering to other ordinances, policies, and regulations. But that's sort of to me, I'm not even sure which category, if any, that the job description falls into. It's not an ordinance, a policy, or regulation. But it seems as though it's an important enough thing to have a mention in the contract.
That makes sense to me, but I don't have a legal opinion about how contracts go. Do you have a point of view, Henry?
I'd have to go back and
It was
look at
very
it.
hard to hear him. So can somebody recap what the point was?
What Ken said is he said he skimmed the contract and doesn't believe there's a specific reference in it to the job description. And
Okay.
he's suggesting that may need to be added.
Thank you.
And we can take a look at that. I'd say anybody that has any comments on the contract, write them down and send them to us.
Okay, that's probably the best way to handle it so that we don't try to or try to take comments in the flow of moving ahead with it at the next meeting. So, yeah,
You know, if we're talking about the treasurer's ordinance that's gonna be passed at the town meeting, you know, that should be very much town participation. As far as the contract goes, I think anybody that has comments should write and tell it to us, but it isn't an ordinance, it's a contract, and I mean, maybe, you know, we're not gonna send out the snowplow contract, or we might, I don't know, for public comment, or the grass mowing contract. But I do think it's a good point, and if there are any others that anybody has, I would be happy if they would let us know what they are. And we should address them.
we should. Any other comments? I would say, in that case, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Henry says yes.
Hazel?
Hazel says yes.
Mary Ann says yes. Okay,
Well, Hazel, you owe us 13 minutes. We're letting you out early.
yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.